Video 20, Types of Objectives, Process versus Impact versus Outcome, Area 2, MCHES Subcompetencies 2.3.3. Review the learning objectives for this video. Now that you understand how to write SMART objectives, let us take your knowledge to the next level by exploring the different types of objectives and how they fit together in a hierarchy. This is a critical framework for the Master Certified Health Education Specialist exam, and I want to make sure you feel really confident with it. This hierarchy arranges different types of objectives from the most immediate and short term at the top to the most distal and long term at the bottom. Let us walk through each one together. Process objectives are the most immediate. They describe the administrative tasks that must be completed to run the program. Examples include the number of workshops delivered, materials distributed, or participants recruited. Think of these as essentially your to-do list items. Learning objectives come next and describe changes in knowledge, awareness, or attitudes. For example, after the workshop, 80% of participants will correctly identify 3 warning signs of stroke. Behavioral objectives describe changes in what people actually do. These are sometimes called action objectives. An example would be, within 6 months, 60% of participants will engage in 150 minutes of moderate physical activity per week. Environmental objectives address changes in the physical, social, or policy environment. An example is, by 2028, the school district will implement a comprehensive tobacco-free campus policy. And finally, outcome objectives are the most long-term and describe changes in health status, quality of life, or morbidity and mortality. An example would be, within 5 years, the cardiovascular disease mortality rate will decrease by 10%. Understanding this hierarchy helps you select the right type of objective for each stage of your program, and that is a skill that will serve you both on the exam and throughout your career. Let me help you zoom in on the distinction between process objectives and outcome objectives, because these represent the two ends of the spectrum, and understanding this contrast will make everything else fall into place. Process objectives describe what the program itself does. They focus on activities, outputs, and administrative milestones. How many sessions were held, how many brochures were distributed, how many people attended. These are all process-level questions. Process objectives are the easiest to measure because they involve counting tangible outputs. On the other end, outcome objectives describe the ultimate changes in health status that the program aims to produce. These are the hardest to measure and take the longest to achieve. Reducing disease rates, decreasing mortality, and improving quality of life are all outcome-level objectives. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Between these two extremes sit the impact objectives, which include learning, behavioral, and environmental objectives. Impact objectives represent the intermediate changes that must happen for the long-term outcomes to be realized. Think of it as a chain. The program delivers activities, which is process. Those activities change knowledge, behavior, or environments, which is impact. Those impact changes eventually lead to improved health status, which is the outcome. On the exam, you may see the term impact objective used as an umbrella term for learning behavioral and environmental objectives. Make sure you understand that impact sits between process and outcome in the hierarchy. Once you see this chain clearly, classifying any objective becomes so much easier. The impact category deserves special attention because it contains 3 distinct subcategories, and the exam often tests whether you can distinguish among them. So let me break this down for you in a way that makes it really clear. Learning objectives focus on cognitive changes. Did participants gain knowledge? Did their awareness increase? Did their attitudes shift? These are measured through pre-tests and post-tests, quizzes, surveys, and knowledge assessments. Behavioral objectives focus on observable actions. Did participants start exercising? Did they quit smoking? Did they begin using sunscreen? These are measured through self-report surveys, direct observation, or behavioral tracking. Environmental objectives focus on changes to the context in which people live and work. Did the workplace add a walking trail? Did the school cafeteria change its menu? Did the city pass a clean air ordinance? These are measured by documenting policy changes, environmental audits, or systems-level assessments. Now here is why this matters to you as a program planner. A comprehensive health education program should have objectives at multiple levels of the hierarchy. You might have process objectives to track program delivery, learning objectives to assess knowledge change, behavioral objectives to measure action change, and outcome objectives to evaluate long-term health impact. On the exam, you may be given a specific objective and asked to classify it. Here is your strategy. Focus on what is being measured. If it measures knowledge, it is a learning objective. If it measures behavior, it is a behavioral objective. If it measures a policy or environment, it is an environmental objective. You have been building toward this understanding step by step, and you are really putting it all together beautifully. Read the scenario stem aloud. Give students 30 seconds to consider options before advancing. The correct answer is B. The result describes a measurable change in participant behavior, specifically exercise frequency, making it a behavioral objective. A process objective would describe program activities completed. A learning objective would measure changes in knowledge or awareness. An outcome objective would describe changes in health status such as reduced cardiovascular disease rates. Summarize the key